is that Whitney or Mariah Carey from Prince of Egypt soundtrack, which was a really underrated, great song by two divas of the industry. Welcome to Alpha Book Club, guys. My name is Maude Garrett. Happy August. With me, as always, my fellow ravenous readers. We've got Nerdist's editor-in-chief, Rachel Heine. Give it up for this goddess.
Hello. Goddess.
Thanks. Someone made a really good point going, you can call a woman a goddess, but when was the last time someone goes, yeah, I'm a god? And everyone went, woo!
Oh, that's bad.
And we've got our Geek and Sundry's Hector Navarro. Hey, Hector.
Yeah, I am a god. Just kidding. That's a fun Kanye song, though. I like it.
Yeah, because he's got Messiah complex up the wazoo.
Yep.
Cool. Hey, welcome to our Alpha community members. We are looking at your chat right now. As always, everything you write, we actually get our gorgeous eyes on that. We read it in the beautiful words too. So sometimes if you chat between yourselves, that's amazing. But we will also read some of them out as well. This particular month, it is my book. I could have said that without bragging, but I didn't.
No,
Yay! You voted for Assassin's Apprentice!
That wasn't bragging, you were just excited.
Yeah. Yay! This has been on my list of a to-read book in the fantasy world for a very, very, very long time. Because I'm that kind of idiot that jumps on, how dare I say that? I'm that kind of book-obsessed person that jumps on Goodreads and says, what are the fantasy books I should be reading?
Cool.
And actually your book that you nominated by Ursula?
Ursula Le Guin,
came up a lot.
My book, about just a collection of Conan the Barbarian, was probably not nominated.
No, but it definitely did inspire Dungeons and Dragons.
Did it really?
Yeah, I'm listening to Gary Gygax's biography. He, of course, was the creator of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Really into Conan. Anyway, Robin Hobb, female author. There you go. Robin is she's doing the whole JK thing where
I know.
If you hide
and I
behind
didn't
a name.
know that. I had to check my sexism again, like I always do, until I accidentally flipped open the last, the inside cover of the book and saw Robin Hobb, and I was like, of course, it's a woman, of course. Why didn't I assume that?
Brilliant writing.
Because the patriarchy.
That's right, because the patriarchy.
So
it affects us all.
This one was written back in 1995, so actually before I was born.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is
like a good 5
Gosh,
years
long-
before you were born. Yeah.
6
years. Yeah.
I mean, you're basically a baby.
Yeah.
I'm an infant.
You've got that
the
Jack
womb.
disease from the movie Jack. Well, that was also before your time, but where Robin Williams ages 4 times faster than a normal. So as a 10-year-old, he was
all children's movies starring
Robin Williams. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Hook.
But again, you would.
Hook's my favorite.
How do you know Hook? You're 12. How do you know that movie?
Nostalgia.
Netflix.
Is
Nostalgia.
very
Great.
hip.
Because I'm so into
With the
Avatar,
teens.
and I was
That's
like,
right.
wow, who's Prince Zuko? Well, apparently.
Wow, good one. That's very good. Very good.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit more about Assassin's Apprentice. This one follows the story of Fitz, who is a young bastard son of a prince who has a telepathic magic known as the skill. I actually thought it was, you can get into minds, but I thought it was empathy. And everyone's saying that's real bad. And I'm like, ooh, then I'm bad. Anyway.
What,
we'll talk
empathy's
more about
bad?
that. Yeah.
Why is that bad?
Well, they're saying like, that's not a man thing to
Oh,
do. What
for
you're
sure.
doing
That
right
makes
now
sense.
is not a man thing to do.
I could see that. I could see
It's not a man
empathy.
thing to do, they're saying, and also just this connection, it seems like can be dangerous, or at least that's sort of the vibe that I'm getting.
With
but it
animals.
is a very traditionally feminine thing, I think, to be empathetic,
Yes,
and to, which doesn't mean that it's actually only women are empathetic, but it's it's considered that.
I'm going to tie this in and go on a mini rant. Cool. Assassin's Apprentice. American Assassin is a movie that's coming out with the guy from The Thing and Michael Keaton. What I did notice about again, this is about a kid who has basically
fridged his wife.
Yeah, I mean, he's got this PTSD happening real bad, and he's so focused to a point of obsession or beyond that about getting back at terrorism that they're like, let's fast track him to be a CIA operative. And the thing is, it's like every time he shows any kind of emotion, that's when all the bad things happen, and all the lessons are stamp that out, because as soon as you feel anything, and I was like, they are creating a robot.
Yeah.
I got real worried. Life. That was my rant over. Cool. So a dog dies in this book.
Yeah,
Is that not? I didn't broach it very sensitively. I'm so sorry. I have a dog. I'm a mother of dogs.
like Mother of Dragons.
That's exactly what I was going for.
Good. Yeah, so starting out with this, I was really excited to read this because when I read fantasy, I feel like I read more. I guess the term is urban fantasy, where it's more
Contemporary fantasy.
Contemporary fantasy as well, where stuff like the Dresden Files, which someday I hope we will read that.
I bought it on Audible.
I've read
have it ready to go.
8 of them. There are many more. I had to take a break because it was like it's supernatural noir, so it's like 2 cases are connected and they've got the like detective.
I want to read that.
Yeah,
that
it's
like
really
Fable?
fun.
Fables is another contemporary fantasy where they take fantastical elements, like it's a better version of
Fairy
Once
tales.
Upon a Time, putting them in a modern setting.
You guys are reading that on Alpha Comic Book Club.
We just read it last
correct?
week on Alpha Comic Book Club, the first
way.
volume, the first 10 issues. It was good. It was really, really good. Excellent world building.
B.
And I think, Big B from The Wolf
Bad
Among
Wolf.
Us.
Yeah, The Wolf
Big
Among Us,
Bad
which is
Wolf.
one of, I don't play that many video games, but
Yeah.
I love Telltale games.
And I haven't.
because
I've never
they're
played
like
it
a story.
because I hadn't read the comic yet. But now
Yeah.
I'm like, now I want to get into. But then I found out that the game takes place right before the comic series itself, so that's really exciting too. But I was having the same conversation just yesterday, Rachel, because I'm in the same boat. I like things like, I haven't read it yet, but Harry Potter is another example of modern or contemporary fantasy.
The Golden Compass too,
Golden
as well.
Compass, yeah.
Is sort of, it's set.
Wrinkle in
a-
Time kind of sci-fi
Wrinkle
fantasy.
in Time has sci-fi and fantasy elements. Yeah. So I was, I read some high fantasy when I was younger, but I always got a little bit bogged down. And not all of them do this, as it's sort of an unfair characterization. But like too much description and too much of the like, sort of like in The Princess Bride, where he's like, cut all that out. Like
Yeah.
there's too much lords
good
and
parts.
ladies and Thorin and Doran
Yeah.
and Lauren and all of the Lord of the Rings.
You need a chart.
Never read Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I tried.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
tried. So it's a lot for me. But
Would you guys read Game of Thrones on this show? Because I was thinking about that too.
100%.
I
like,
would.
I've
yeah.
read it.
I would read the first book. And,
Yeah.
There's
and
like
dissect
80%
it.
of the characters that you hear about, you never hear of again.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You
I
need
would
a chart.
definitely do that.
I almost needed a chart with this, but not quite.
I think
Because of some of the simplicity of some of the names of the characters, which at first I was like, oh, really? That's the guy's
no,
name?
me too.
Jeez, Louise. But then I was like, actually, that's really helpful. That's helping me keep track
Yeah.
of who these characters are, you know?
and
What
it
would your
plays
name be
into
then?
the story.
I don't know, like
Ooh,
Prince
that's a good
Nerd?
one.
I don't know. It would be like some, you know,
I think
thing.
I would be brash.
brash. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I would be like,
What one personality trait describes
one
you? Join in
personality.
the chat as
Yeah.
well. If you were like regal or what's the king's name again? Shrewd.
Shrewd.
I love that one.
Isn't
That
that
was
great?
the one I read, and I was like,
oh,
okay.
okay. Oh,
But
brother.
it plays in that
Yeah.
there's all this discussion of you choose a name and your name means
Yep,
something that
they worked it into the story.
Feels like it's playing into
Chivalry?
the mythology. Yeah, chivalry.
Prince Chivalry, chivalrous.
Regal.
Verity?
Verity. There's
Yeah, regal.
patience.
Patience. Fitz, even.
Desire.
Well, I
Fitz.
gotta get the
Queens
Fitz
as well.
one.
Fitz.
What's Fitz?
Well,
It's just
they
like a squirrely little name. I don't know.
Because it was
Yeah.
like implied that
It means
oh, you know,
bas-
calls a bitch and
Yes.
a bastard a bastard.
I think it's maybe a colloquial. It's supposed to be a colloquial term
For bastard?
For bastard.
I think so.
Got it. So
Yeah.
this kind of has like this, and I can talk about it because I think in the few chats ago, we were talking about the curious case of the incident in the night, or the dog of the incident, whatever that bloody book's called, where it's from a perspective of
Benjamin
someone who's got Asperger's. Curious case of the dog,
Ah.
you know the one.
Yes.
But it's like this with the
Help us
Assassin's
in the
Apprentice,
chat.
where he observes everything, and I thought that he was actually placing these names on the people as a way
Oh,
to
because
remind
it's from
them.
his perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
Ooh.
And
maybe
we'll-
that's not
we'll
any
never
of their
learn their
names
real
at
name?
all. Yeah, but
That's
it's just like
interesting.
that's patience, that's verity because of that helps.
I liked
them.
that. It does help. And I felt like when I got into the book, I was a little wary because I felt like the tone of it when it starts is very serious
Proper.
and dramatic and I was like, oh, okay, who's this guy? But it actually really worked for me because it took a little bit in the beginning, I think was a little slow for me, but once I
yeah.
got into Fitz, I think after the first chapter, everything with Nosy and then all of sort of him getting to know Shrewd and Chade and is it Chade?
That's when it got interesting.
Chade.
Yeah.
Jade.
But that was fun. I felt really sneaky. But I love how, as a little kid, people are remarking on how quiet he is because he's connected with Nosy, but also he feels like one of those kids that's so serious that you want to be like, come on,
Hey.
buddy.
Play, pal.
And
You can play. Yeah.
I definitely wasn't that serious, but I can relate to being sort of like quiet and being like, but I want to talk about the serious things, you know, like that kind of
Yeah.
kid. And so that tone started working for me, and I started to really feel so bad for him and the situation that he's in, and also intrigued to see this this cool person that he's going to become, especially because it's the beginning of a trilogy.
So in Goodreads, for this particular book, a lot of the feedback, so I did go in there again just to kind of understand what other people were saying about the books, and it was, good Lord, every time there was like not a perfect score, it was, this is the slowest start to a book. This is like, it did not get me straight away. You've got to really slug it out. For me, like when you're listening to a book, it's a lot harder to go, all right, stop, enough. Because you just listen, someone's reading it to you. I find that when you're reading it, you're like, oh, okay, and you can easily put the book down. So I didn't have that so much. But if you are listening to it on Audible, and this is the very first book club where I haven't read the book, I'm listening to it, and I kind of feel like I'm cheating, but I did buy another one, so I've got two of the book. I've lost my point because I was trying to defend my own actions.
It's okay. You're still
you
reading.
didn't have you didn't have a chance to get distracted and put it down the way I did, where to check my phone or whatever.
The second chapter is over an hour long.
Yeah.
That one's real. That was the really long one.
Yeah.
That was from. I ended up. What was that? Why?
Yeah, it was brutal.
And it could have been 25 pages.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, you know, the thing for me with fantasy especially, I haven't really read fantasy other than The Hobbit and the first Lord of the Rings book, as in terms of high fantasy.
Yeah.
And I got about halfway through the Two Towers,
tough.
so they're tough. And especially
great.
Hobbit, I loved it so much that I was like, yeah, and then went into Fellowship and went, oh, this isn't as good, or it's that flowery language that Tolkien was doing on purpose to see just how much of it he could get away with, and I'm like, who's this Tom Bombadil character? He sucks. What's that?
He got away with a lot.
He got away with a lot, but so that's really my standard. But like Rachel, I think I'm more drawn to and can relate to contemporary fantasy, urban fantasy. That trailer for that movie Bright came out with Will Smith, where he's like a cop, and then his partner that he gets assigned to is an orc, and it's like modern day LA. And it'll be on Netflix, and I'm like, that's the kind of stuff that I can really hone in on. That's why I love
Edgerton.
Exactly, which is great. I didn't realize that until the end of when you see his name.
He's a chameleon.
He's so good.
He's
so good.
Anyway.
That's why I like superheroes, because superheroes are fantasy, except it's our world, and then they'll tell you, but then here's the one thing: a kid get bitten by a spider, and then go from there.
So you can place yourself into the world far
Exactly.
easier?
I'm like, here are the rules. This is, yes, I can, and as opposed to with, I think, high fantasy, there is an element of, we have to explain the rules of the world to you. We have to explain some of the geography, some of the background of some of the.
That was a little tedious.
It can be a little tedious. Sometimes it's really interesting.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it works. And for me, this book it was very procedural for me to read this for the first few chapters, even whilst listening to the Game of Thrones soundtrack, which was amazing. And you're missing out. Maude, you really should put that on while listening.
I did it.
You did it?
It was so I had to turn it off for the first section because I was like, whoa, because it was really slow.
Okay.
But then when I started getting into when he's getting his lessons, I turned it back on again.
Ooh, okay. The moment where I realized that I was actually affected by the book was when Burrich went and killed Nosy. And it was that sad moment, and because again, I didn't quite know what magic was in the world, and the book doesn't tell you until after Burrich makes the realization of, oh, you've got the skill, you're going to bond with this dog, and you'll eventually turn into some sort of a werewolf man later in your later years. I got to go kill this pup, and then I was like, oh man, that's so sad. Oh, okay, cool. I'm actually getting something from this book. Kept going, and by the time Fitz refuses the task from Chade to go into the king's quarters and just take a little something and go back.
So
when he refused that, I was like rooting for him, and I'm like, I also don't know why this is a big deal, but I like that he refused to do it, and that Chade came in later and like hugged him in the middle of the night and disappeared. Like,
so hold on. So you realized in that particular moment that you actually did like Fitz as a character.
That I was, not only did I like him as a character, but that I sort of related to him. Because again, what I'm saying is, it's tough for me to relate to fantasy. There, to me, is a bit of a block for me to just find that focal point, that thing where I can relate to a character or to a theme or a message, and it's all about human people. It's all in there, except that when you flower it with the fantasy world, for me, it's kind of tough to sift through and find it. So I found it when he lost his dog, and they explained that's part of the reason that the kid was kind of mute up to this point, or silent, was because he really was just connected to this dog. And I was like, see, I can relate to that because we've all had a first pet and a first dog. So I'm like, cool. And then later when he refused that task, and when he found Nosebleed in the city, and they were like cute to each other, I'm like, that's also super relatable. It's the first crush. Like those moments I really were connected with and were drawn to. And a lot of the other reading is, even with the great soundtrack on, it's procedural, it's going through, I'm like, okay, got it, check, sure, and nothing's really hitting me and affecting me. That's why I asked you in your office, I was like, did they ever make a movie or a TV show of this? Because I would just want to see how an actor would play it. I just want to see what the tone of it would be, just to, I don't know if this is Game of Thrones or if it's Lord of the Rings, like for kids and families, or if it's Game of Thrones where it's like, oh no, this is going to get gnarly. I don't know yet, so I don't know quite how to read and be in the world, if that makes sense.
You're anticipating something in a way.
Yeah, or I'm anticipating that something that's not going to happen. So I just need somebody to tell me like, oh, this is rated PG-13, relax.
This is rated PG-13.
Or this is R, like this is going to get crazy.
Well, what kind of assassin is this boy?
Oh, got it.
For the film stuff, I was thinking, I will say that I actually really love the language and the descriptions in this book. I don't think it's too much. Once you get into it,
I think it's a little pompous.
It is
from time to time.
It is a little bit, but I mean more just like the visuals that I'm getting of the scenery. Like some of the previous books we've gotten, I've been like, I can't picture this place at all. This one, it feels salty. It feels old. It feels medieval. Yeah, it works. Have you guys seen The Last Unicorn?
No.
Oh man. Okay. First of all, you have to watch it. It's one of my favorite things.
All right, we'll do a double feature, that and Tarzan.
Ooh.
That's how I do it. That's how I trick people into being my friend.
That would be fun though. Movie night, double feature.
Tarzan first, get out of the way. And
the Last Unicorn is
animated.
It's
super
an animated, weird, sad movie, from the 80s, my bread and butter.
Wow.
And
80s.
it's way back.
30, 40 years ago for you. A million years ago. Yeah.
But it's about the last unicorn who's left and goes in search of them. And there's this she ends up basically at a castle, and there's this evil king played by Mia Farrow is the last unicorn. Christopher Lee plays the evil king. The dude. Why am I blanking? The dude. Jeff Bridges plays the prince.
Wait, apparently the book is better? The Last Unicorn book is better? Should we read the book?
Yeah,
let's
read the book.
I've never read the book.
Let's read the book.
We got to add that to the list.
Better, but that would be really fun. But they end up so basically this flaming Red Bull has stormed all the unicorns into the sea, and so the foam that's in the water is the unicorns. It's really cool. And the castle that she ends up in feels like this town that they're in, and the seaside place. And so I keep picturing Christopher Lee as Shrewd.
Shrewd, yeah.
And Regal, the first thing I thought was actually the Lion King was Jeremy Irons as the jealous brother. So now I have Jeremy, young Jeremy Irons in my head, and it's
king.
So good. It makes it so much creepier when he's like, the chivalry is dead, and I was like, oh God.
Wow, that's I've got not really great depictions actually of these guys.
It's probably because you're listening to the audiobook. Here's who I got. Chade is the old groundskeeper from the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, Filch?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Filch.
He's also from Game of Thrones.
He's from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Walder Frey.
And I don't even watch Game of Thrones, but Burrich is that redheaded guy who's in love with that blonde woman.
Tormund.
Yeah, that's who I'm picturing as Burrich. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, not at all.
That's what I picture.
All right.
Again, don't watch Game of Thrones. I'm just going off of visuals.
Maybe it's time.
I'm like, that character could be nice. I'll cast him, and now he's my Burrich. Yeah.
I sort of got Ian McShane. I feel like I
could
have
do Ian
Ian
McShane.
McShane stuck in my head, but
I'm more Ian
someone
McShane.
grizzled.
Oh, and then who's that ugly kid that everybody's making fun of in Game of Thrones because he looks like all the Beatles?
Oh,
Bran. Bran. That's who I have as Fitz right now, unfortunately, because it's Game of Thrones world.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I have I have this in
Paul
my
Rudd.
head.
You've got Paul Rudd. Somebody
Paul
pointed it
Rudd
out.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed it out on Twitter, and I'm like,
God, I love Josh.
Yeah. How do you know that movie so well, Maude? 10 years before your time. At least 10 years before you were born. Amazing.
Oh my God. I've never made you laugh that hard before. I'm floating right now.
You try really hard every week too, so that's great.
Yes.
Congratulations. Yeah.
So I want to talk about the second moment where this novel really sank in for you, and that was when Fitz doesn't want to do Chade's task.
Oh, remember how that ended? That was so badass. where he finally went and had dinner with the king,
looks him
and
straight
looks
in
him
the
and just
eye
fucking
and
takes the thing,
slides
and
it
then
up his
goes
shoulder.
to Chade. I was gonna say Filch. Goes to Chade's like
Now
fireplace.
you've changed the name in my head.
Yeah, just boom, and then
I
just
believe
leaves.
it's still there
And I
now.
believe it's still there to this day. Whoa, so badass!
great.
I was like, go Fitz. All right.
Well, that
good
was
for you.
to me. It felt like in a lot of. I mean, I feel like when you're dealing with a young protagonist, that's the chosen one who's going on eventually some
got the
sort
royal
of
blood.
hero's journey.
The skill.
An orphan who lives in a cupboard under the stairs, perhaps. That you have sort of the, like
Cinderella.
we've seen in all these things, the loss of, not the loss of innocence, but learning right and wrong and what that is within yourself. And for him, this was so, he had been given this chance and he didn't really want it, and he didn't know, I feel like he didn't know what it actually was. He was just like, I'm comfortable, this is all I've known. Of course, you'd be afraid. No one has ever really, taught him anything about this outside world. He can't even imagine going anywhere else at this point. And his memories are so tied to what people have told him and lore because he's famous. It is a lot like Harry Potter in a way, I guess, where you hear about yourself and your importance through other people.
It's like asking him to steal from Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And he's shattered because, he's Dumbledore's little dude.
Even though, God, do I not trust Shrewd at all.
Okay, I have a very different take on
His
Shrewd.
name's Shrewd.
Yeah.
No, but okay, so...
But you can be shrewd without being, that's like clever.
For
It
that-
has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
that moment when you were like, I'm so glad he didn't...
You refused to, yeah.
And you were like, I'm proud of Fitz, I start liking Fitz. For me, when I was listening to that, I was like, I'm really impressed by King Shrewd. I was like, well done.
Because King Shrewd said he admitted that it was his test? Or what are
At
you
the end,
Yeah.
but I thought there's, you've got Regal who wanted to off Fitz. It was like, he could be a threat, he might not ever be, but there's a potential, therefore we should get rid of him now when he's 6 years old and just kill him. You've got Verity, who's the everyone man. He's just like, hey, and everything's fine, cool. And the fact that he sent the little toy soldier set was a beautiful touch. But then, and chivalry no longer even exists anymore. But then Shrewd was just like, all right, he could be an enemy to you, but you've really got to decide that you've got to make this guy loyal to you. This guy could be this boy, if groomed properly, could be a huge asset. And the fact that he had this conversation in front of Fitz, whether he could understand it or not, the fact that he was so open about his purpose, I am going to make you one with me. You'll never be any more than a bastard, but you'll be my bastard. Welcome in my, keep here. The fact that he gave him that little badge that gave him instant access.
With that little red line through the middle, like the scarlet letter, because he was a bastard, but still nice. Instant access, still nice.
So he's actually, for the first time, giving Fitz a father figure and someone going, you're worth something to me. Whether it's to manipulate this boy completely and to use him for, a different means, that's almost irrelevant to me. The fact that he was just like, I'm going to make you feel great. You're going to have a servant watch you eat and clean up after you. You're going to have all this access. I'm going to give you a horse. I'm going to give you proper training. I think for the first time, Fitz has gone, I realize what respect is, and this man is showing me that, and I've got it back. So asking, when you're asking me to steal from the one person that's shown me love and respect and, a purpose,
He was
I
torn
can't
up
do
about
that.
it. He couldn't do it.
And I was like, well done, King Shrewd.
Because
you wanted him to be completely loyal.
And he is.
And he is.
Very nice.
I agree with you on that, and I think
Took me
that
too
that
long to
was
say it,
I think that
Well said, Maude.
No, I think it's absolutely well said, and
I'll cheers to that.
But
All right,
I-
well said.
I'm just any excuse really.
Yep. Clinky, clinky.
but I worry. I would say respect and loyalty, but I don't see love there, and I do think that his name is very apt in that. Shrewd. That is what he's doing is owning him and manipulating him, and I think he's doing a great job at it. And I think Fitz sensed that bony, crooked honesty in him when he first kind of sent out his feelers, which I love. I love that when he's sensing people and the vibe that he's getting from them. But and I don't think he's necessarily evil, but I think grooming someone to be loyal to you so that you can use them to bend your will. It's brilliant, but I'm very wary of him for that reason, because it's like they're training him to become an assassin.
What does it say about me if I admire him for that?
I don't think it's bad to admire someone for being clever.
I think it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the option was he dies or he has
I think
a purpose.
you're a Slytherin, right?
Definitely a Gryffindor.
No, you're a Slytherin.
100%.
Because of what you just said.
I always get Slytherin now. I used to get Ravenclaw.
No, I'm
What's
not
that? Now you're Slytherin?
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're definitely Ravenclaw.
I mean, you're painfully a Hufflepuff. So.
No, I'm obviously Gryffindor.
Yeah, you're a Gryffindor for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you. I'm not no side
But
character. I'm the
Hufflepuff-
main character in the story.
Hufflepuffs get a bad rap.
Yeah, Hufflepuffs are fine.
I'm saying
are
Hufflepuff
cool.
But
is
you're
your
Ravenclaw.
lovely.
I
Oh,
feel
thank
like
you
they
so
want
much.
to take a nap and like
Yeah, I
make
love
like
naps.
marshmallows with you. Like
Oh,
they
cool.
seem like really cool friends.
But Gryffindor is like,
There's too much pressure to be Gryffindor.
I know, it's a lot of pressure. But they also like look out. They're super
so
loyal. They
hard?
look out for each other. Like
Yeah.
they have to like take care of everybody else. And I feel like I have some of that.
Yeah,
Gryffindoriness
you
in
find
me.
it
I do
very.
too.
Hufflepuff find it easier to give to other people than to
Yeah.
focus on themselves.
And you're not Slytherin. What are you? Hufflepuff?
definitely
You're Gryffindor?
Definitely
Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
No, I don't know about definitely.
One time,
Guys, I
was
guess we'll have to read
sorted-
the book. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking out of my ass. I guess we'll have to read it
if
here on
you
the
had
show.
read the book, you would know that sometimes people get
Get missorted? That sorting hat's wrong?
or no that they're
The hat
you
gets
could-
too drunk.
You,
And it's just like, Hufflepuff! And it's like, I'm not
It
even,
is
you're not even on a
always
kid's
No, I
head.
said I need to have a puff.
You're not even on a kid's head yet. Gryffindor! You're too drunk, hat. What happened?
Stop it.
Somebody dropped me in a barrel.
And people are on the
Ravenclaw.
line
Ravenclaw.
and what they want versus what they are can be different.
I gotcha, I
Anyway,
gotcha.
we're gonna read it.
Okay.
It's definitely gone in the chat already, but someone suggested that Arya Stark was Molly, Nosebleed.
Oh, that's fun.
Arya Stark? I could see that.
I'm trying to think of
I just
who
pictured like the little girl from Up when she was a little girl.
Yeah.
Just like a little like tomboy with freckles and like the tooth and just like,
that's
who are you
cute.
calling Nosebleed?
Yeah, I got that.
Is she in Newsies?
I don't know.
I was
I
singing
guess.
Newsies today, so it's
Yeah.
on my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Didn't make it to Australia Newsies.
Newsies? Well, it's playing at the El Capitan Theater this weekend.
You might enjoy it as a
I'm
show.
probably
The movie
going.
starring Christian Bale, not great. Unless you've
Christian
seen it, unless
Bale's
you
in
saw it when
it?
you were a kid. Yeah.
Got it.
Unless you saw it when you were a kid,
Okay.
Rach. Thank you. Sorry. I just saw it for
You
the first
saw
time.
my-
I just
you
saw it for the
saw,
first
like,
time like
flames shoot
like
into
2-3
my
months
eyes.
ago, and I was like, oh, I wish I saw this when I was a kid. I don't have the love that you have, but maybe the
Yeah.
show, the stage
The
show is
musical is
fantastic.
really great.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the dog just for a second
Sure.
because
Nosy?
Nosy, yes, because I think the early scenes where I connected with Fitz, not as fully as later, but I think having that connection and having this like the description of Nosy and Nosy's like plump little belly just like destroyed me. I just pictured like, you know how puppies just have those like chubby
Yeah.
little stomachs, and the language of that, and that when different lords, when he first arrives in the town, that the lords are poking fun at him, and he's like Nosy rolled
to
his
submit,
belly and,
yeah.
and submitted,
Yeah.
but humans don't
Do that.
respond to that, and
Yeah.
they're worse than that. And that was a moment where I was like, oh, this kid is like, and this person as he's grown up has really been treated poorly, and he's just this little puppy that wants to run around and get somewhere warm and safe. And that moment for me was like, I think it was really smart to bond them together, and
And the
even though
scene-
that scene ruined me and I almost
It was
threw
sad.
my
Now listen,
book.
he could have killed the dog right in front of him.
Yeah, but he felt it.
You know, he did. He felt it.
But that was the lesson as well. I'm
Yeah.
so heartless.
I don't
got
know
it.
if the lesson was the right one though, because I feel like he should be learning his skills.
It would be so much worse
Yeah.
if it didn't kill and
Feels like
rip Burridge
repression.
from inside out. Like
Sure.
it destroyed him to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed,
He didn't
agreed.
see any other way.
Couldn't
which
he
is
have
really
sent
sad.
him away somewhere to a farm?
I don't know. But
Isn't
you know
that
what
what
else I think is
happens to
interesting?
dogs when
And
they
I've
go
never read
away?
the book, and a couple people in the chat have said that, I forget who said it, but they said that they read this back in the day and got through halfway through the second one and then dropped off, so maybe they'll give it another go. Somebody on Twitter rage quit this series, and I'm so curious to find out why,
the
like the
Nosy?
trilogy. But just because of the fact that we're reading a book about a main character who's probably in some shape or other a destined one or a chosen one,
Totally, yeah.
my first thought was, no, let the kid bond with the dog. I bet you he'll be so powerful. His skill will be so powerful that he'll be able to overcome it and be the fully first ever hybrid man dog who doesn't turn into a dog creature but is able to
dog.
keep his humanity.
Man, bear,
That was
pig?
my first thought. I was like, yeah, man, bear, pig. I was like, no, let him keep doing it because it's like a cool superpower, and who knows, maybe he will be so powerful at it that he'll be able to maintain.
I think there will
but-
be a callback to that
Absolutely.
in a later book
and there,
where
and,
he gets to bond.
I was
going to
say there was a little bit of one when Fitz was super depressed because Che ditched him that Birch didn't know what was up and just grabbed him and was like, help these dogs. And the descriptive language of him helping another little pup with a full little belly, with its little, like, with its eyes still closed and, like, its little mouth, it, like, was, like, nipping at him and stuff. It was, like, cute as hell.
I can see it in my head.
It's so great. Yeah, it's so great.
I'm going to cry.
Aww.
Oh, my God, but Rachel, how cute are little puppies that are just born? How cute are
They're
they?
like yawning real.
Oh, no, it was born an hour ago. Look how cute it is. Let's see if we can make her cry. Keep going, keep going.
I haven't had enough wine.
Its paws are, like, this big.
No.
And its little belly is
And
full
when it
of
like
its mom's
barks, it
milk.
goes,
Yeah. 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 It's like,
Okay, anyway, but I do think...
and there's no teeth, and you put your little thumb in there, and it grabs your thumb with its jaw. Tries to suckle it or tries to bite it. And when they walk, they fall on themselves.
I have to would it be better for you reading the book and whoever rage quit during the nosy offing? Oh, gotta be
I don't
more
know if
serious.
that's why they
I
rage
think
quit.
it's something later.
Oh, okay.
They said rage quit the series, so maybe they got to book 2 or 3 or something and then stopped. I don't know.
But I do want to know from you, do you think that would have made more sense to you if you started seeing negative effects of bonding with the animal? Because from our point of view, he had a best friend.
Yeah.
They were in sync together. They became like the terrible duo when it came to, like, off getting the sausages.
I'm going to say no, because I have a feeling that not only will there be a callback later in the book, but I think we're going to see ill effects either through Fitz or through some other character. The way that Birch described it, I was like, I believe him, and I believe that's a rule of this world that we have not been exposed to yet as readers. That I'm like, I bet you in the last third of the book, he's going to come across some guy that's like more beast than human, than man, like who like lost his humanity, and somebody would be like, look at him, he used a skill. He's got a skill, but he used it too much. Good thing you didn't do that, Fitz. Yeah. Something like that, and then he'll have to kill him. Something like that.
I think that something like that is bound to happen, but I also think that part of it felt to me like, yes, this can be dangerous, but it's sort of, I'm trying to think of like a modern or like a different equivalent, but like with witches or different things where, or like, I guess Frozen maybe, where there's
Jean Grey from the X-Men had her powers blocked by Charles Xavier when she was like 12 because it was too powerful.
But I feel like that's a point where it's a good thing, but there's also like a repression angle here that I felt was happening when he was kind of being locked up and just told like, this is wrong, you are wrong, what's happening to you is wrong, without, he explains it to him a little bit, but he won't even like really tell him what it is.
Yeah.
But that's just Birch, that's his way.
You know what else I think is to do with that though? In 1995, being different was bad. In 2017, being different is
cool.
Special.
It's cool. Yeah, I could see that. I could see
Back
that.
then, it was like, it wasn't like you had to kind of form an order in a way.
But I think, I don't know, I feel like when you have a chosen one and things like it felt deliberate to me that this
he's
was
already
like,
different. He is
Burrage,
special.
if you asked how he was, he would grunt at you.
I think
I picture him in really burly, like thick body hair kind of deal.
I picture him with red hair, a beard, tied in like a knot top, and a sneaky little. And every time he sees Gwendolyn Christie, he's like, oh, hey. I don't watch the show. I don't know if that's how the show works.
That's all you need to know.
Well, let me help tie it back in with Game of Thrones, because there was the whole Jon Snow, who are his actual parents discussion happening. Do you know that?
No, but go on.
Great.
He died. He came back. Go on.
So in this instance, they realised that the skill that he's gotten is from the mother. What do you think? Who she is? What her skill is? Why she've got with her in particular? Was it before their marriage? Apparently, it was before he got married.
He was young.
Oh,
he
they
was
explained it.
Traveling.
He was away.
Yeah, he was away.
And under a lot of
town.
pressure. So then he had an affair.
I feel like in any story like this, that's never what it seems. I don't think the beginning, that's a story. We hear that from one character. We don't even know who he is. We hear someone crying. I hope not.
Oh. But they bring up the mother for 6 years. The man who dropped Fitz off to Burrage's door to the keep was just like, I'm sick of him at my table. His mother's not working because he's hanging around.
Oh.
Does that mean she's
prostitute?
a whore?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Could she also be some sort of like mage or someone?
Why does she have the skill, and why is it genetically passed down through the mother?
And also it says that the doesn't it say?
And she's not dead. She's still alive. He's not an orphan.
And it also says that the Outlandish?
Out-Islander?
Out-Islander. The Outlandish is actually the name of a Outlander podcast that Alicia Lutz hosts. So that's why it was in my head.
Nice.
But
Nice plug.
there was a note in there.
Oh, it's wit, not skill. It's wit. Is it wit?
I'm pretty sure it's skill.
Is it skill or wit?
It's the skill.
The skill.
But they talk about the wit. I think is the thing is that I don't know if they are all the same. I guess when I first read the sort of with Nosy the beast thing, I was like, oh, does he have like all of the things that you could have, like the connection with animals? But I do think they're all the same thing. But they did call it the wit, and they also call it the skill. So. Are
you sure it's not the difference between like telekinesis and telepathy? Like they're
maybe they're types.
They're kind of a little bit types.
All of them or something. Like maybe some people connect with animals. Some people have the.
And that's all Fitz has, right? What else can he do?
Well, he connects with the animals. He sends that weird energy at people. He almost
it's like
killed.
A blast. It's like a tele.
Oh yeah.
He almost killed Nosebleed's dad.
That's right. That was
and
awesome.
Used it on, this is again interesting. Used it on Burrich, and when he goes, "Never ever do that to me again," straight away he used it again and got a brick wall, and it was pushed back onto him. So Burrich knows about this energy manipulation
has it,
and
or
handling.
he can like throw up mental defenses or something. That's cool as hell. I think that's awesome.
It is cool, but it's also like, why did he stop, and why won't he teach him? I want to know more about that. And I do feel bad for him because it was like he was the king's hand. He saved him from this wild boar, and then he just got, to him he got stuck with this kid, and he's got a limp. But I do feel, even though there are points where Fitz says, you don't have to love someone to depend on them, I do feel that there's a love here and that we're going to see this relationship. Like, he clearly cares for him. He's taking care of him. He might be gruff, and I don't think Fitz is picking up that he, like, really does care about him. That's sort of the vibe that I'm getting from him.
Fitz is a little, he's one too many hits from the snake.
The thing is, it's like he's so empathetic. He can really draw on people's emotions, and a lot of the time he read into thoughts and feelings that scared him because it was like their true emotion that they were trying to suppress. But at the same time, really does struggle to get a lot of basic common sense.
Right,
possibly.
Social skills that he doesn't have for obvious reasons, because look at how he was brought up. Plaguewind kind of spells it out. Wit is for animals, and skill is more an internal power.
Oh.
So, thank you, Plaguewind, for describing that.
I don't know. Ooh.
A certain person stopped.
Yeah, Chade implies that the skill isn't taught much anymore.
So that's easy, because it's like this.
Get out of an animal's head, really. I'd be on board with that.
That's fine. I want to be in an animal's head.
Oh my God,
that would be so awesome.
bad.
Can you imagine being in an eagle, in a hawk's head, when he's just like jumping off of a mountain cliff? That'd be so
I'm
cool.
so high.
Yeah.
Look how much of the
I'd
air
be
I
like,
am.
cool. No, that'd be great. It'd be easy to communicate with pets. I'm sure this is what happened. These witch breed or mutant type people that have these powers, wit and skill, there was a king who was jealous or thought that they might have been a threat and was like, in this kingdom, we're not going to teach or shape that skill anymore. It's done. And if you do that, it's bad.
Shrewd has it.
Yeah.
And Shrewd was
What does he have? The wit?
I think he has the skill. No, he has
also
the skill.
Because
animals?
No,
Fitz
wit
was
is
prying
animals.
into his
Skill
head.
is the influence.
Yeah,
and,
gotcha.
And
He does have the skill.
He
He does, but then I like how they also explain in the book how Robin Hobb says mostly these kinds of abilities are in people that have like royal blood, but it's not limited to just them, but just generally speaking, it's kind of falls on people that ended up, being that have
Does that
power
mean
and
everyone
stuff.
has it, but it's like those that had the correct teacher
That's what
was
I
able
was
to
just
unleash
thinking.
it?
Like,
And who's got
really?
the kind of,
maybe
time and energy and money for that, resources?
So maybe then the wealthy, noble people of this fair universe decided not to have anybody trained because of the commoners knew that they had the wit and the skill.
Burrich has got it. We all know that. But what is Burrich's job? What did he do for Shiv? Horses, hounds, and hawks.
Ah.
He was in their bloody mines. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. Anyone know that reference? It's the Michael Caine impersonation.
Is it from a new film?
Michael Caine.
A newer Michael Caine movie?
Someone in the chat will have my back on that one. There's a giggle in there. Too. The only saying here is old. Look, anyway, Burrich has got it, and that's why he can recognize it, and he must know the damage that can happen.
Yes.
What else has Burrich had? He's been attacked by a boar. Why did the boar charge him instead of kill Shiv? Oh my God, guys, I get everything.
Wow,
it's all coming into my head now.
So wait, Burrich used the wit to bring the boar towards him to save.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
What did he get in return? A bung leg and a bad attitude. Am I yelling?
A little bit.
Okay.
You're upset? You're upset for Birch?
No, I've got it. Hey, while I'm on a roll, let me
let's read the rest of it right now.
Let me read just a tiny paragraph in the audible narrator's voice, so you guys can hate him as much as I do.
Well, you know, you're doing it to yourself.
I glanced down at the red stone that winked.
Pause.
Sorry, winked.
Already.
In a nest of
Pause.
silver.
Eject.
Yes, sir. I managed again. Ah, he said softly, and I sensed a trace of regret in his voice, and I wondered what it was for. His eyes released me, and suddenly I was once more aware of my surroundings, of the poppies, and the great hall, and Regal watching me with distaste on his face.
Ugh.
That's what I'm going
through. How did you get through
guys.
6 chapters of
and
that?
And then I went back and started listening to the beginning again.
Why?
Because I had time, because I'm listening while I'm driving, because I live in my car, because I live in LA traffic.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Don't even get me started.
I get through so many books on Audible, guys.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't listen to, this is a problem too, it's hard for me to listen to podcasts unless I sit. They can't be doing anything else because I can't
focus.
I can't pay attention.
Yeah, you'll get into a fender bender. Be careful.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
I don't do it. I don't ever do it. But yeah, I don't know how you're listening to it, especially because I feel like this is one where I would definitely.
He says basket, but he's really English, so he should be saying basket. Gets to me. Shouldn't, but it does. Let's talk about Chade's training that's happening, because this is when the book gets really interesting. It takes you 3, 4, 5 chapters until it happens, but
then it gets good.
The subtle games, which doesn't look like it has a purpose at the start, when you realize that, it's actually honing a skill.
Oh, totally.
Learning to work with people and
these particular, have a conversation, get these people to like you, get these people to share. Guess what? People love talking about themselves and will tell you everything you want to know.
Have you guys ever used those kinds of skills at like a party or anything? Have you ever been in a social situation where you went, you know what? This thing is going to kick in. I know that people can reveal more information if they are the one that is talking and I'm not the one that is talking, and then you kind of talk less. Do you guys ever pull anything like that?
I interview people for a living. If I stop talking and there's any kind of dead air, they keep talking.
You're fired. They'll keep talking?
They will usually keep talking.
Wow.
I've had it before where it was like, I nodded, like wanting them to talk more about it, and they just stopped. And I was like, okay, all right, that didn't work. Ooh, they're good. But yeah, that
good.
works.
Or
people
slow.
are phobic of silence. I'm one of those people, usually. Sometimes can be, if I'm a little nervous.
They absolutely are. But you know what? I think we're all good enough friends here that we can just sit in silence for probably like 10 seconds, right?
No. This is the worst show.
Becon's gonna fire us.
That was about 10 seconds. All right. Okay, we did it.
Our
producers are everyone's
I don't
freaking
do
out.
it to like get information on people. But
Well, I don't mean that. I
That's
just
a
mean
little
like
shrewd.
I just mean like that's if
I
I'm
do
feeling
like
awkward
to
at a
ask
party,
people
I will
questions about themselves. Mostly so I don't have to talk, but also
You're actually getting them to really like you
Yeah.
because you've shown them that you're okay listening to what they have to say.
Yeah, people love
and
that.
people love being listened to.
Yeah.
And allowing to talk about themselves. So the best advice I ever got in LA was because I was like, I'm so bad at small talk. And they went, you know what? If you want someone to like you and if you want to get small talk, keep asking them about themselves because they'll love that. And they'll walk away from an hour conversation going, that Maude is the best chick I've ever met. And they won't know a damn thing about you.
It's very true.
Well, I
It's
think
very true.
sometimes it helps me too because I feel like if people pick up on that and they're like, oh, then I feel like they'll respond in kind. And I always find that those are the people who do the same thing. I always notice when you're talking to someone and they don't ask you like, how are you? Or reference another thing that you had talked about before. In college, I was very shy, but very shy. And I would I was trying to get out of my shell a little bit. But even if I went to a fairly big party school in Santa Barbara, and so it was not a great environment for me when I first got there because I was like, ah. But when I would talk to people and I would do that and then I would remember everything because everyone was blacked out drunk all the time. I found that if I saw them again and I was like, hey, yeah, da-da-da, and remember their story, everyone would be like, wow, she's a little weird. And I was like, I just listened though.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make
sober.
friends with you. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't super sober. I drank.
But you
in
paid
college,
attention.
But
Yeah.
I was just trying to.
So when you were
have
talking
that.
to someone and they were talking to you, you were actually looking at them and listening to them without looking over their shoulder
the
trying
next
to find the
thing.
next person,
Yeah.
and just thinking of also things that you can bring into the conversation, and this story's great. That's another thing that happens a lot.
And
anyway,
you'll notice it
we're
when
just
you're
having a real bitch about things, guys.
Well, but I think
Having
it's
a
all about, it
whinge.
is all about empathy, right? And I figured out what my name would be.
Yes.
It would be, what am I, a lady probably? A duchess?
Sure.
Duchess is cool. It would be sensitive, I think, which can be
Duchess
a pro
sensitive?
and a con.
Pisces.
But, oh my God, I know. But I think that like empathy and like it can be a bad thing where you have a thin skin or whatever, but it can be that thing where you listen to people and you try to be sensitive to other people's
Guys,
emotions.
what would mine be? That's a really good one for you, Rachel. Which one was yours again, Maude? What was yours again?
Lady Brash.
Brash.
That's a
oh,
good
that's
one.
perfect.
I would say bold, maybe, or kind, or brave, or kind.
Right. What's yours? It's right here. It's right here.
I like kind.
Yeah.
You
I'll
would
take
be
kind.
I like brave.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Okay.
What are you guys in the?
True.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
True?
Yeah.
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 True
I like
to
that.
yourself, true to your passion, true to who you are when you do deliver. There's no wall. There's
like
not.
that.
You're not a
I like that.
fraud.
I feel it
version of
encompasses
yourself.
Duke
the
true.
other ones too.
Duke true.
Yeah.
Duke true. Yeah. I would have an accent like that.
Lady
yeah, would.
Brash.
Yeah.
Data says
great.
it would be Duchess sensitive.
That's just sensitive.
Duchess
What
sensitive.
are you
Bless
guys
you.
in the chat? Let us
Lord
know your
Diligent.
names.
I love that.
That's
Lost
great.
the numbers. I remember reading it from a while ago when we first brought it up. It said, "Can I just be tired?"
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
not a personality
Sleepy.
trait. That's
King
just a
tired.
bad
I don't know.
decision.
Sleep. I feel
And
like I'm pretty
priorities.
sleepy. Queen of cat naps.
Mm.
That would be a good
Napping
one.
is so good. Everyone
is
should
real-
nap.
What do you
Yeah, I
guys in the
agree.
chat? I want to know what you guys think of this one because we last month we had a classic novel that we read in high school and we
Yeah.
got like such a change of pace with it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah.
And even when I had a hard time getting into the beginning of it, I was like, ooh, okay, all right, I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
into this thing that's like very much in the vein of what we're doing. So I want to know what everyone in the Lord Gallivant, that's so great, what you guys think so far. If you're liking it, if you've read it before, I want to hear what you guys have
Lady
to say.
laughs at her own jokes is me. That's great.
Oh my God, that's so.
Pain in butt. Duke awkward. Those are really good. Those are fun.
That's fantastic.
Princess Fetch. I like that.
Yeah, I would like to know from everyone. Like, we kind of shared what kind of fantasy we kind of what fantasy we indulge in and
Yeah.
where we can easily place ourselves. For me, high fantasy, being a mad D&D fiend,
Yeah.
being really into sort of like RPG, fantasy video games like Witcher 3 shout out one time, all those kind of games with castles and strongholds and
Yeah.
that's
You
my
like
jam.
this is your jam.
So when there's no technology, where there's no, the best weapon is a sword kind of thing, when you've got to groom your horse, I love that. So for me, it was really easy. But what about our Alpha Chat? What kind of fantasy are you into?
You didn't like
No.
the way you phrased that.
I just realised, how much I said, don't you put those eyebrows down, Hector. No? Eyebrows.
That's
down.
such a,
I
I
am
just had
red.
such a Millhouse
Oh,
moment.
fuck it. What fantasies are you into?
I got-
Do you want to take it anyway you want to? It's my question and your answer. So
I'm really happy
we're all
that
friends
I just
here.
had a Millhouse Van Houten moment where I got told to put my eyebrows down. Like,
And
just
the
like
other
Millhouse. All right. Yeah, that's great.
Java Geek Girl said that she would say inquisitive, but she's also heard compassionate. I think those are both. We've
That's
chatted with her
fantastic.
on here before. And gosh, we got to get more people chatting in with us
I
each
know.
day. If you guys
Yeah.
want to come
Estrella
dial in.
172 says, I'm enjoying the book so far, but I agree with you what you were saying earlier that the beginning is kind of slow. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see where the plot is going to go from here.
Yeah, Thrash Odin having those same, Plague Wind having those same feelings. She's the perfect example of high fantasy. The book starts slow, but it's got all the classic fantasy tropes in it. Destiny, has real powers.
Wait, Thrash Odin says in the beginning it was a hard shift from southern drawl to eloquent fantasy, probably because of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Still,
Well,
still
it starts.
the remnants
I
of
mean,
that.
the first section, I was like, ugh. I felt like the parts that Princess Bride
Yeah, we
cut
cut out.
out.
Yeah.
And then the very first few pages, my pen falters, it falls from my knuckly grip,
Yeah.
leaving a worm's trail of ink. It's just about
Boof.
across
the pompous.
Fedren's paper.
Across what?
Fedren's paper, the
Who's Fedren?
scribe
Yeah.
that we get
So he
later.
does become.
He
well,
takes the
he's
job.
using
We'll see.
using his paper.
But yeah,
So
talk
what?
about
Assassin's not for him.
like look at how good the first sentence was in The Dark Tower, which by the way comes out on
It
Friday.
will never be.
It'll never be that good.
But find me a book with a better opening than that.
Exactly. And then the
was
first.
a dark and stormy night, book 1.
That's pretty good. Wrinkle in
true.
Time. That's
That's
pretty
true.
good.
House
What?
of
Oh, sorry.
Hell House.
Okay, all right, that's pretty good. But like, look at this, like, you know, Robin Hobb, great writer, fantastic writer, Robin Hobb. But look at this first sentence: a history of the 6 duchies is a necessity. A history of the 6 duchies is of necessity a history of its ruling family, the Farseers.
Yeah, no one cares.
But
It was a Dark and Stormy Night was A Wrinkle in Time.
oh, it was. It was. Damn.
Time to get our wrinkle on.
What was the first one for? It was
Reclaiming
similar.
My Time.
It was.
Reclaiming
I'm
My
a
Time.
psycho and no one
I'm
loves
kidding.
me.
What was it? Yeah.
Wasn't it?
For which one?
Ooh, that was some shade for. Is it Edith Eudora?
Which?
Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
I made up my own.
Catherine
Theodora.
Zeta-Jones.
Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Now Carla Gugino.
Oh, the
For the TV
Googs!
show, yeah, the Googs.
Googanator.
Googs.
Oh, Papa drinking Googet.
Can't wait.
Plague Wind Says plus Robin Hobb has a bunch of trilogies out. Yeah, I was kind of excited when I got into it because I was like, man, I, like you on Goodreads, when I'm not reading stuff for this, I've been reading a lot of thrillers that are set in the UK that have like kind of messy female protagonists. Yes. And so I've been going through like murder mystery stuff.
Yeah.
And I really want to get into fantasy and read. I was like, I hope I get into this, so I want to read the trilogy.
Cool.
And then she has like
Me too.
5. I love reading series.
Yes.
No matter like what, if it's a genre that I like right now, it's like sort of detective-y stuff. But
Yeah.
I did a lot of the Dresden Files. If I can continue with a character, that's like my favorite
Same.
thing to do.
I'm into trilogies, and I'm realizing
Yeah.
that in the book world, it happens a lot. In fact, just 2 weeks ago at Comic-Con, I bought some Star Trek books, some novels that I'm super excited about. And I'm
nice.
going back and forth between reading this and reading this first book in this Star Trek trilogy, which is super dorky, but I love it so hard. And it's going from science fiction to fantasy, science fiction, and
Oh,
it's
that's
really
good.
fun.
God, all
It's great.
bases covered for a geek.
All of them.
Yeah.
You know what's
Yeah.
also a trilogy? The Golden Compass.
Yes,
let's
and
start
it gets
it.
better and better.
And Wrinkle in Time, kind of, but then more. And I need to go back
Quartet.
and do book
Ain't
2.
gonna get my wrinkle
Yeah,
on.
I
that,
do
yeah.
want to do that. And get
Yeah.
a wrinkle.
No,
on.
not happening for me. In the chat as well, I want to know, out of 10, what would you give this book? Hector and Rachel, I'm throwing that question over to you as well.
Right
Compare-
so far, right now, I'm
Yeah.
going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I give it a
I'm gonna give it a
7.5.
All right. I think
Oh, I didn't know we
said
could do 0.5s. I'll leave it at a 7. I'll stay at a 7.0.
Oh,
I'll stay. I also
about-
like to live dangerously. I suggest you hit, sir. And this is my wife, Oprah. It's a movie before your time, Maude. It's from 1997. It's called Austin Powers International Man of Mystery.
Oh, yeah. A lot of
Yes, exactly. You got it. Yes, that's right.
Anyway.
What exactly do you miss vagina?
Oh, here you go. Really quickly. Wizard Sales hated the Golden Compass stuff. -7.
Whoa.
Rachel
what?
about to fight you. I have to hold her shoes while she gets up
Whoa.
and throws it.
Wiz Sales? Wiz
I'm
our
tall. I
Sales?
just watched my
Wow.
limbs just.
Maybe they meant -7, like
That's
7
no,
out
yeah.
of 10.
Like a negative. Okay, we got 7, 6.5, 7, 6.5.
It gets better, says DeMarco Draws. I'm
Okay.
sure.
So far, 6,
Wizards-
6.
okay.
Everyone's saying it's better than
Yes,
average.
that's a negative
but
7.
Just interesting, guys. All right. Well, we are
It's-
going
you
to be
know-
reading the next the next 6 chapters. So the end of 12 is what it is. What was that, Hector? When I brilliantly cut you off?
I was just saying, guys, it's only been 7 chapters, y'all.
I
It's
know.
only been 6 chapters,
It
7
just
chapters.
started
so.
picking up.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
But I gotta get back to the -7 at some point. So find me on Twitter. Are you talking about the movie or the book?
No,
'Cause,
I think that
what?
Wizard at Sales is giving this a -7. Assassin's Apprentice, not
Okay, that's
Golden
fine.
Compass.
That's
I think they said
they prefaced by saying really didn't like that Golden Compass stuff, and then straight
yeah,
under
but
it was
those
a
are two
-7.
separate statements. They were like, didn't like that Golden Compass stuff,
Oh my
and I'm
gosh,
giving
how much time have
Assassin's
we got left
Apprentice.
on this
Nope.
show? Okay,
All
for
right,
the
well then
next
let's
few
get
minutes,
into it.
we're waiting
Let's
and
get into
figuring
it.
out.
What are you
Wizard
giving a
Sales,
Golden Compass, and what are you giving Assassin's
You've
Apprentice?
started
Wizard
something
Sales?
now. You've offended
Don't
people
start
on the-
something you can't finish, Wizard Sales.
What do you give Assassin's
It's okay, you're allowed
Creed?
to not
Apprentice?
like things.
Also,
that-
what do you give Assassin's Creed, the video game? What do you give that?
I mean, the Black Flags was the best out of the series. Can I get a hell yeah?
Series as a whole? Game.
There's a lot of Assassin's Creed games.
Yikes.
The first one was all right. It's a good start. The second one had currency, which I didn't think it...
Black Flag's good.
Wizard Sales, you keep clarifying, but you have to give us a complete sentence.
Yes,
give us like,
correct.
I give
you read the
Golden
full
Compass
trilogy?
a this. I give Assassin's Apprentice
By
a
the way,
this.
Golden Compass 5.
Okay, I'm confused again.
That's average.
So is
Wizard
negative
Sales,
7
though,
for...
is handling
Yeah.
an onslaught of aggression directly at you super well. Like, well done, man. Like,
There we go.
Okay.
Also, you're totally entitled to your opinion. We're just joshing, but like also
We're just
really
funning is all.
-7 and you're
really
still in the
glad
chat? Oh my
That's
god,
awesome.
I really
Say that.
appreciate you then.
Lots of numbers. ABC is hardcore. Yeah, we'll go after you, man. We'll go after you just so that you can state your case.
I stabbed someone once with
It's
a
true.
pencil.
Trident.
Yeah.
With a pencil. No, really. I got
Orlando
sent to the
Jones
principal's
from
office.
American Gods got stabbed by Maude. Maude straight up stabbed him. It was crazy.
Orlando Jones?
Yeah, from American Gods.
What? I did
when he was
not.
here.
When he was here, you stabbed him.
No.
We're taking this fiction
Yeah,
step
too
further.
far. No, you
Why
wouldn't.
would you bring someone into this
Yeah.
that could probably corroborate like my denial?
Uh,
Hey, there's too many words for me right now. Thank you so much for paying attention to the shit we say on this show. Don't forget, Goodreads is happening. Make sure you search Alpha Book Club. Discuss books with us. Like we've already told you that we are always in there checking out the books that we are reading and also talking about books that we do enjoy. What are you having a freak out about?
Nothing.
Okay.
The movie isn't anything like the book. You're gonna read it sometime and you're gonna join us and you're gonna love it so much.
Look, if you are very vocal in the chat and you actually want to go one better and talk to us face to face, since we're so friendly, please join us on the show. Just use that hashtag Alpha Book Club, or you can tweet at Join Team Alpha. Courtney will get that set up and you can be on the show. I promise you we do not bite. And then of course send in your book recommendations. Use at Nerdist, at Geek and Sundry, at Join Team Alpha, using the hashtag Alpha Book Club. Guys, you've been great. We're going to do this next week. Bye bye. Didn't throw a book.